Kia ora, Shane.
Kia ora. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear and we can see you. So Shane, so Shane's from the Youth Line Wairarapa branch, and Shane, you've got 7 minutes to share your presentation, and then we'll have 3 minutes of questions after that, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Go for it.
So like I'll cut to the...
Oh, and you're being live streamed as well, just a heads up.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Council. I'll cut to the chase. I know what it's like after 9 years in local government to be on committees like this. You've got a huge list of people to get through. I'm going to take my report as read, but also just to add to that, I thoroughly appreciate the time and consideration Masterton is giving to Youthline. We have 2 youth workers part-time in Wairarapa and hoping to build that up subject to funding. In fact, we will do our very, very best. We spent the start of last year campaigning with schools to assure that they could actually have us in their schools as we build up our organisation in the Wairarapa. We are very aware of the youth services and demand for youth services in the Wairarapa, and also very conscious of the fact that if you talk about the Greytown, the Cartertons and even into Martinborough, just how light it is on the ground for youth services. One of our visioning pieces is to have a team of volunteers, actually have a helpline support system down in the Wairarapa that feeds into the wider Youthline network of support for young people. So we want to have people on site, but we also too want to have people trained in that capacity on the phones as well. So again, if I could just make it really short, and I know the work that you've got to get through, just really appreciate what we do get from the Wairarapa District Council and surrounding areas as well. So happy to take questions if that's all right with you, Mr. Chair.
Yep, it is. Any questions, anyone? Go Bex.
Yeah, hi Shane. Can you just give us an overview of the kind of demand here and perhaps numbers that you're facing as in people that are contacting you, and just the sort of overview of capacity and capability?
Yeah, sure. So as I said, we've got 2 part-time staff, but we want to increase that and increase those numbers, hours and people on the ground. So I spent last year visiting the schools in the form of the kahuaku, so actually meeting with the principals and actually presenting to them. So we've got a letter of support from some 26 schools throughout the Wairarapa and South Wairarapa region. So it's a case of who do we get to first based on our limited funding resources. So it's a real sort of chicken and egg thing here. We've got to start somewhere, folks, but we also do recognise the need, and the need is around counselling and the need is around mentoring. So in the interim, as we build capacity, is delivering a standing tour program in schools that helps build up our rangatahi and those who are vulnerable. From there too, we can also identify those rangatahi and tamariki in need and provide some support for them as well. I hope that answers your question, Becky.
No, I'm just interested in what sort of numbers do you think you need to reach, as in number of students?
Endless, yeah. We've got an average class size of 24 to 26, per class, and then times that by the number of schools, and divide that by youth worker capacity. I could easily probably have a team of between 8 and 12 youth workers in the Wairarapa.
And so will the standing tour program actually, if implemented or when implemented, will it reach all youth? Or just those that need?
Sorry, it just cut out there. Could you,
the standing tour program, does that reach all youth, or is it just the youth that identify themselves as needing help?
No, it reaches all youth. So we conduct that in a couple of schools now. And forgive me, I don't have the schools in front of me. That's the team in the Wairarapa. I'm calling from the Palms North. So we've got a program delivered in schools right now that covers a number of students versus just only a few identified students. From the program delivery, we can drill down further on individual participants' needs if required. Okay. So the greatest call for us down there, putting that aside, is actually around the counselling space. Seems to be a global shortage if you look at Aotearoa as a country on counsellors, but we're trying to also meet that need through the mentoring process as well. If that helps the committee.
Thank you.
Gary?
G'day Shane, Gary here. Shane, do you Do you work with other agencies? Do you work alongside other agencies who are involved in youth work as well?
Yeah, look, absolutely. So Youthline is certainly not a silo operation, and if I could look at what we do here in the Manawatu, Rangitikei, Tararua region, we actively work with other organisations as well, and we would do the same in the Wairarapa, South Wairarapa region as well. We're not here to take over, we're here to support and operate within our lane as well, and referrals are a big part. So if we can't provide that service, we need to outsource, or we need to refer that young person so they have the best level of care we can possibly give.
Thank you.
Shane, so the Standing Tall program, that's one of the goals of that, or outcomes could be to identify those kids who have got much more severe needs, and that's what the councillors will be potentially looking for in those programs?
Yeah, absolutely. So our youth work is it's a forever ongoing professional development. We're also noticing just the complex needs of tamariki and rangatahi as well. There just seems to be an increase in complex needs presented. So it's a lot more of a, hey, it's just a bit more than presenting a program, it's actually identifying those in need and what we can do moving forward. So what we came down to talk to the kahuakus, the College of Learnings with the principals, was to identify what were the main concerns they had. And by far, it was, if you could get us counsellors, that would be great. The next best thing we can do is offer you some trained youth workers to work in your schools and sort of, help unpack those issues. Counselling throughout New Zealand is a huge demand, and we can't produce counsellors quick enough. So ideally, I want to see a counsellor employed by Youthline in the Wairarapa to deliver counselling services to those in need.
Thanks, Shane. Any more questions? No. Shane, thank you for your presentation. So we'll be in touch over the next week or so just to let you the outcome of your application.
Yeah, no, that's good. And all the best for your deliberations moving forward. Thanks for your time.
Ka kite.
Okay. See ya. Thank you.
Is she ready to go? Right, hi, we've got Natasha Cole from the Masterton Bridge Club. So Natasha, you've got 7 minutes to present your case for funding, and then there'll be 3 minutes of questioning after that. So it's all yours, Natasha. Oh, and by the way, your live stream, I should have shared that with you as well. So go for it. Can you hear us? No.
You're on mute, Natasha.
No, she can't hear us. Natasha, can you hear us? Hi, Natasha. Can you hear us now?
I'll turn the microphone on.
Got you now.
Got you now.
Can you hear us, Natasha? How about now?
Okay, and then I just need to sort out that I can hear you.
Can you hear us now?
I'm assuming the speaker is on. How do I check that? Yep, my speaker is on Speakers Realty Audio.
She can just talk. She can't hear us.
I'll try ringing on my phone, see if that's any better.
Can you hear now, Natasha?
I could do that. If you can hear me, that'd be great. It is downloading on my phone. Sorry.
Thanks, Harry.
We can hear you. She's talking
No, I'm
to
talking
Harry.
about
Sarah's talking.
She's talking to Harry.
You've got 7 minutes with 3 minutes for questions. You're being live streamed. Okay, so we're a club. I'm assuming you just want me to tell you about the club. We're a club of all ages, with ages ranging from mid-40s to over 90. We are basically, long story short, after new curtains, we have recently painted our Masterton club. We have recently rewired the kitchen and replaced hot water cylinders. We've got ongoing maintenance. We cannot insulate under the club room's floor because the space between the floor and the carpet, the concrete outside is too small, and we've tried to do that in the past. Our curtains are really old, so the aim of this was to make the club rooms a lot warmer and replace them. What else? We've recently replaced the heat pump in the club rooms with a grant being made last year from Masterton Trust House. Our club money goes towards, every night that we pay $5, and that goes towards hot drinks and the heating bill, so that the subs money for New Zealand Bridge are going directly to them. It's very difficult when I don't have any questions. Any other questions?
I can type them to Natasha.
Any questions?
What else can I say? We want to make the club rooms warmer. We want to make it
Yeah,
a
members.
warmer environment for our
It's in the
Just
spreadsheet.
patrons.
31.
We phone him? Sorry, Harry.
How many members? We've got 130 to 40 to 50 members. We've just had lessons that have recently finished last month, and we gained 12 new members. The lessons happen every year. We're all a voluntary organisation, and no one's actually paid. It's all, our club has 8 people on the committee who volunteer their time just to
They pay
keep things ticking along.
Yeah, they're paying $5 a night.
What else can I say that is going to sell? We're after any sort of money, any donation. It doesn't have to be the full amount. It's basically for new curtains. Is there a membership? Yes, we pay $85 a year for membership, and that money mostly goes towards New Zealand Bridge to belong to that association.
And is
And as I said before, the $5 that we pay per evening goes towards hot drinks and heating.
and are the blinds and the drapes in every room, or is it just?
Any other questions? I don't know if I'm selling it very well here.
You're doing very well.
Are the blinds and drapes in every room? Yes, they are. We're two. Whoops, I'm doing well. Okay, we've got 2 rooms. One has got the hot drinks going in it, and the other is the room that we play in. To divide the room, to try and get the room warmer, we've got one of those 1950s. I don't know. It's like an old door that sort of pulls out and back. I'm not selling it, but and all the rooms have curtains. They are there, and we would like to get a blind on the door. There's a door out the front. Okay, what else?
Questions?
I've talked about the kitchen, that we've recently rewired that. We've rewired the hot water cylinder. Anything else? I'm rambling now.
Oh, one more. Yep.
Okay.
Applied elsewhere for the.
Anything would be greatly appreciated for the mental and well-being of our club. And you should all come and do lessons. They'll be on next year, 2024. Have you applied for funding anywhere else? Not for curtains, no. Last year we just applied to Trust House for the new vet fund, which was about $8,000 worth.
If you say thank you, and we'll let you know next week.
Actually, no, I did apply for some money in Wellington, but got declined. And I cannot even think off the top of my head who that was. It was an outfit in Wellington. Do you want to know that name right now? I could find it. That's fantastic. You have a great day. Sorry about the noise. Or lack of. Thank you.
Thank you. Was that area? When they have their meetings in Carterton and South Wairarapa, are they coming out? Will they be at the same sort of time?
The South Line and Carterton will also run, so about this time I think that can never quite work out.
Just to see what they. So most of them have gone to, well, a lot of them have gone to the same places, haven't they? You get called plus every year. Yeah. Irish Community Network, isn't it?
No.
Oh, which one is it? Oh, Rebecca first. Yep. So Rebecca's ready to go. Is it Rebecca? Is it not? Is it not, Danny?
No, it's not Danny. We'll go with Rebecca.
Yep.
We'll just let her know that we're on there.
Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca.
Good afternoon. Here we go. Got my mic on now.
Yep. Can you hear us, Rebecca?
Yeah, perfect.
Fabulous. Rebecca, you've got Rebecca from the Hokai Tahi Charitable Trust. So you've got 7 minutes to share your presentation, and then following that we'll have 3 minutes of questions, and just a reminder that you're being live streamed as well. So go for it, Rebecca. The floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, basically, I'm mainly here to discuss the application with the committee today and answer any questions you might have. But I'll very briefly go through our application as well. And firstly, thank you very much for all your time and consideration today. Looking at the schedule, it looks like you've got a very busy day planned for the committee. So, my name's Rebecca. I know some of you already, but I am the service manager for Hokai Tahi in the Wairarapa. And we're requesting $5,000 from this committee, from Masterton District Council, towards administration and running costs for our service. We are a charitable trust, and so we rely on a lot of grants and fundraising and donations to get us through our operational expenditure for the year. So I'll just outline very briefly what we do as a service. We provide free pregnancy or baby loss support within the Wairarapa, and women are referred to us for a number of reasons. It could be that their babies had a poor prognosis during pregnancy. Mum may feel like she's not coping well with pregnancy or other life stresses, and we're seeing that a lot more now with the cost of living or relationship breakdowns and lots more. Often past trauma is brought up by being pregnant, or the mum has very few community support. So they're probably some of the common situations that we see coming through our doors. And what we do is we have health professionals who give us a certain amount of their hours every week to help support these women and walk through whatever situation that they're facing, and really help to empower them so that they are able to give back to the community, give back to their whānau and people around them and themselves, when they feel like they're ready. So we also have, we've had some funding this year from Masterton Lands Trust to provide a professional counselling service as well through an affiliated counsellor, and that's been really awesome, kind of having that backup support for some of our more high needs clients, and it helps us to provide a much more holistic service. So up until this year, the majority of our work has been done by volunteers. Our support coordinators have donated their time as pro bono support, but we've had such a growth in clients and time and complexity that we're now moving a lot of our support coordinators into paid positions if they're willing to take that up, just as recognition of the amount of time and expertise that they're providing our service. So that's, I guess, the very quick overview of the application and what we're about. We are requesting funding towards our Masterton office, based at Hesse House and Worksop Road. And so just for an example, like some of, our annual budget is quite large, and just our rent and electricity, we're looking at close to $30,000 a year. So yeah, we're requesting $5,000 towards some of these expenses. But yeah, I'm happy to take questions. And let me know if there's anything else you'd like to know in particular.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So Bex.
Yeah, hi Rebecca, it's Bex here. What sort of numbers of Masterton clients are you sort of averaging, just to get an idea of the demand?
This year overall, we're probably going to have about 70 clients in general. About 50 of those are one-to-one clients, but a lot of our support comes through the hospital as well. So we provide baby loss packs to maternity ward and the emergency department, and we don't necessarily have a breakdown for those clients. So the majority of our clients come from Masterton. We're actually planning to open a South Wairarapa clinic in October for 1 day a week, and we're hoping that would make us a lot more accessible to our South Wairarapa clients as well.
Thank you.
Gary?
Hi Rebecca, Gary here. Rebecca, is your office in Masterton open sort of 8 to 5, is it, or how do you work it?
Yeah, so our hours are 8:30 till 4:30, but we are on an appointment only basis. So when a client is referred to us, they are matched with a support coordinator and they organise the appointments between them about when they want to come in.
Rebecca, so say there's someone who would need your service but they don't know that you guys exist. How would that happen? Is it through referrals from other agencies?
Yeah, so we have referrals through a number of avenues. One is probably one of the largest ones is through the maternity ward in Masterton or midwives. We also get referrals through other organisations like Bywater, Changeability, but people can also self-refer. And so like on the Wairarapa Mums Facebook group, we often have past clients recommending us, and people can refer themselves or their friend if their family member with their consent through our website or our phone number.
And would support be typically ongoing for a period of time?
Yeah, so our client tenure, I guess, ranges. Sometimes it can range just be a month, so a couple of appointments in a month, to some of our longest clients have been here for over a year. It really depends. And sometimes we get clients coming back as well. Really depends on their circumstances. But we are here for as long as they need us.
Thanks, Rebecca. Marama?
You said that something about support workers. How many do you have? You match the people up with clients. So how many?
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing the question.
You spoke about support workers that you have. How many do you have?
How many support coordinators?
Yes.
We currently have five support coordinators. One of them is a midwife at the hospital. One of them is a student counsellor. We have a retired midwife, a private counsellor at the moment, and we have a health and addictions counsellor as well. And then on top of that, we have our contracted registered counsellor.
Thank you.
Any more questions? No. Thank you, Rebecca. Thanks for your time and thanks for your presentation. And we'll be in touch with you over the next week or so, okay?
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye. Is Danny ready? Right. Hi, Danny.
Kia ora, how are you?
Good. So we've got Danny Sargent from the Wairarapa Community Networks. So Danny, you've got 7 minutes to present and then we'll have 3 minutes for questions after that. So the floor's all yours.
Okay, ka pai, thank you. So kia ora everybody, my name is Danny Sargent. I'm the manager for Wairarapa Community Networks. We are a really small organisation of 2 staff members, myself and an administrator, and we work across justice, health, education, community and government and NGO services within the Wairarapa. So our primary role is to support Wairarapa to reduce silos and siloed working. One of the ways that we do this is we hold formal networking meetings, roughly 4 to 6 weekly, and then we do a Zoom meeting at the end of those meetings, and our Zoom meetings are for our government organisations to come into who service Masterton and other areas in the Wairarapa, but also don't have physical offices within the Wairarapa, so places from Wellington, and that's to enable them to get to know, get to know our community better and the people that they're servicing and the issues that are being faced on the ground. Underneath our formal networking meetings that we hold year long, we have the opportunity to do other focus groups. So really key and specific focus groups based on what the community want. So that's what our organisations are facing on the ground. If there's a common trend or a common challenge that sectors are facing, they can come to us and ask for a focus group, and our role is to pull in all the people that might be helpful at that table. At the moment, we have a membership of roughly 800 to 850 people and organisations within our membership. We have a newsletter that goes out to 922 people, which means that if you miss a meeting, then you're able to, all of the information that happens within the meeting, including contact details and challenges or programs or things like that that might be running within the community, all of that information is put into a newsletter and is sent out to our membership. So even though you might miss a physical meeting, you never really miss anything. So at the moment, we have got a number of focus groups that run in Masterton at the moment. So we have a Tāne group, so that's our men working with men, and that came from a call out from some of the men that are working with men and running men's programs to say that there are not enough. So we pulled in all of the our key men or key organisations that work with men, because some of the men on the ground who were in programs were saying that the programs weren't run for long enough. They were left at the end of the program. You know, they might do an 8-week program or get some support for a set amount of time, and then they're dropped and there's no further support offered. And so there was an agreement brought to the table by all of the men who ran men's programs that they would then pass their clientele on to the next men's group. And so the outcome, one of the really positive outcomes from that is that our men now have roughly 42 weeks available for them to have ongoing programs with different organisations. And our key contacts just talk to each other a little bit better, and are able to channel our men who need support into groups that might support them if they have a key need. We also have a Kaumātua Kuia focus group, so that's our aged population. That was born out of the positive ageing strategy, so that's been going roughly for a year and a half now. They meet quarterly, once in person and then 3 times on Zoom. And so there's keynote speakers in each one of those meetings. Initially set up to support with the creation and the work plan for the positive ageing strategy, and now that's done. Now it's bringing in all of those key agencies that work with our aged community to have better connections and know what's going on within the community. What else do we have? So we have a rangatahi group that's looking at our youth, and that's quite a new one. It was running maybe a year ago, and then because of people's capacity to be able to attend, we parked it for a little while, and then there's just been a renewed interest within people working within that sector, and so we're looking to reopen that. So just going through the process of trying to set that up and set some suitable days. As I said, we are a really small organisation. My role is to coordinate and facilitate not only the wider meetings, but also all of the all of the focus groups as well. So we take notes and all of that sort of stuff at the focus groups, as well as the wider meetings. But that's a lot of work. So I only work 15 hours a week, and my admin only works 10 hours a week. And our admin is specifically for our wider meetings, not our focus groups. So as you can imagine, the more and more focus groups we get, the less and less capacity we have to be able to do the things that we're able to do. So the funding that we have applied for will help to support us to be able to do that better for the community. And yeah, I think that's about me. Thank you.
Thanks, Danny. Any questions? So, Gary?
Danny, hi. Danny,
Hi.
where do you operate from? Have you got your own office here in Masterton, or?
No, so we're working from home. I do try and sit within the community in different places if I can find a free hot desk, so that I know what's going on the ground. But our physical offices are just within our homes.
So when you're talking about operating expenses, that's letterheads and, just all sorts of stuff like that, is it? Mail and...
Yeah, so our paper, our printing, which I try and keep to a minimum, it's all of our comms and IT stuff.
Yeah.
To keep it running.
Thank you.
So, Danny, with a group, is it like a self-running group? So you coordinate the group, get it together, and then does the group run itself for a period of time? Is that how it works?
So for some groups that works really well. For some of our other groups, so for some of our groups, they can come together and there seems to be a sort of a key lead pops up, and then they will continue to facilitate the group, and then they always feed back to our wider meetings, which is great. But for some of our groups, just as an example, our men's group, they are not great at coordinating themselves, and they're also not great at feeding back. So they wouldn't have a group or any notes or anything if it wasn't for us to do that, provide that facilitation for them. So it just depends on the group.
Thanks, Danny. Any more questions? No. Thank you, Danny. Thanks for your presentation and for answering our questions. So we'll be back to you by the end of next week, just with the outcome of your application.
Okay, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. You're ready to go as well. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Nicole. Can you hear us? You'd have to turn your microphone on, Nicole.
Oh, sorry, I was muted.
Great.
Oh,
So
it's been
we've
one of
got,
those things.
so Nicole from Y Central Masterton, and Nicole, you've got 7 minutes. Oh, who have we got there as well?
We've got Iseta, so she is, we go fast in the program, pretty much. We'll put it. I did say that I was going to have Iseta from Two Water Compass
Thank
being
you.
in here, so that collaboration in this program.
Great. So you guys have got 7 minutes to present, and then you've got 3 minutes of questions coming after that, okay?
Okay.
Go for it.
Did I kick off?
Yep.
Yeah, you go. You go get it.
Happy Tongan Language Week. My name is Isita. I'm the Pacifica Health Lead at Two Water Compass Health. Thank you for this opportunity. I just want to kick off by saying Tumotu has been running really wild and consistent in the last 2 years. I think, and even last Sunday we had about 30 Pacifica children turning up. They're just turning up every Sunday looking for that safe space to be, which is what Tumotu is all about. You know, when this program was created 2 years ago, it was about making sure we create that safe space for our Pacifica kids. And as a Samoan born and raised myself, those spaces are really important for us and for our young people coming through now. because there's a lot of pressure out there in our community. There's church, there's family, there's pressure at school. So a space like Tumotu is something that not only helps ground them in their identity, they're around other people, it helps connect them, but it's also an opportunity for us as a health organisation to collaborate in and use the space and the people to push health initiatives. So not only that it impacts them individually, but they can take that health information home to their families, and that is a way to spread that message, you know, to improve health and well-being of our Pacifica people and our wider community. But yeah, like I said, it's going really well, consistent, around 20-30 children turning up each week, which is something that we should be happy. It's a big achievement for us, and you just see the confidence just building every week. And as a health organisation as well, it's a way for us to keep an eye on that mental health space, which is really, really important, given that, you know, it's a hard world out there at the moment. And we've seen through COVID, a lot of our Pacifica youth had to drop out of school to be able to go to work and to support their families. Tumotu was that space where they could get to be kids, they get to be themselves. And yeah, want to add anything else, Nicole?
No, you got it there, girl.
Thanks, Asita and Nicole. Has anyone got any questions? I've got a question. When you say 20 to 30 a week, is that a once a week program, is it?
Yeah, it runs every Sunday from 5 to 8 p.m. And we started off with just, you know, our youth, but every now and then we get the whole family coming through from kids as young as 5 years old to about, 24, 26, and even some parents will just come and sit in every now and then.
Yeah, and it's for all Pacifica kids, so Tokelauans, Fijians, Samoan.
All Pacifica kids, and it's not limited to Pacifica kids. It's actually open to everyone, but our target are our Pacifica babies that just seem to make use of the space at the moment. But we have some Māori kids turn up every now and then with their whānau. Yeah.
So it's a real open door policy where anyone can come along.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Any more questions? Oh, Gary, thank you.
Yeah, hi. Is it the program you've got, is that organised, or do you just sort of organise it on the day, whoever's there?
No, it is definitely organised. There's a term leave structure as such, but it's about allowing them to have free time to be able to be them and do what they want to do as well. So it's all based around recreation, moving our bodies, and health and well-being. So that whole te whare tapawha type of model. So we we have kai, we have like a little hui before and after, so some form of karakia or prayer, however anybody wants to do.
That's great.
Embrace that, yes. But it's not structured every single time. Like once a month we try and get providers in, and that's when it's more structured than the other weeks.
And how do you spread the news about the program? How is it promoted?
Word of mouth. Pacifica community is a very small, connected, close community. And when we opened this program about 2 years ago, we had majority of the Pacifica community turn up at the YMCA to bless this. So we've been able to really get those community leaders involved, and when they're involved, the program tends to just grow on its own, which is that initial engagement is really important for us. We have a Tumotu Facebook and Instagram account as well that we update, and just to let families and parents know what they, what's happening each week.
Great. Any more questions? Right. Thank you, Nicole and Desita. So we'll let you know the outcome of our deliberations by the end of next week, okay? So thanks for your time and thanks for your presentation.
Great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
These D, these lights are so good.
We have Tracy. I'm not sure whether Celia.
Celia says she can't get in, but
Oh, okay.
can you see you there?
No.
December again.
Should we just go up Tracy?
Go there.
No, that's Peter's not on yet.
There they go.
Oh, is that Peter?
No, Peter's next. Peter's not on yet, so we'll just put Peter back in the lobby. That's all right.
We're bang on time as well. Is that Tracy?
That's Tracy. I think we're waiting for Celia.
Yep.
Yeah, Celia had messaged you to try, and I think she was struggling with the link, the Teams link. I'm not too sure.
How do you feel about going on your own, Tracy?
Wow, golly, that's a bit of pressure, but you know, I know you've only got 5 minutes, so it's not great. I'll see if I can call her.
It's Peter the guy that was there before. Tracy, do you want to wait so we do?
Yeah, do you want to do Peter first, and I'll give Celia a phone call and just see if she can get in like I did.
Dee's just reset the link.
Oh, we've just reset the link to Celia.
Okay.
So we'll just wait with you. I think Peter's left the lobby.
Okay, cool. I think Gavin was going to join as well, Gavin McLellan. So I thought it was going to be the three of us. I've tried to call her. Did you hear back from her?
No, not yet.
Do you want to go on your own, Tracy?
Yeah, I think I'll have to. I don't want to hold your time up anymore. So, kia ora koutou, ko Tracy Toka Wingawa, ko Tararua's Tumonga, ko Waihine Te Awa, ko Jika Broxburg Tupoka, ko Tracy Toka Wingawa. So, kia ora, I'm the co-chair of the Wairarapa Walking Festival. I'm hoping you're all very familiar with the festival because you might have attended either the launch on the weekend or have been on a walk previously. But essentially we've got about 27 walks across 12 days in November, so the 10th to the 19th of November. And I'm open, I know you've received a bit of information, so I'm just open to whatever questions you might have.
Yep, any questions, anyone?
Yeah, Tracy, Gary here. Tracy, tell us about what's involved for Masterton. We've got quite a few of the walks in Masterton, haven't we?
Yeah, you do actually. There's quite a few up around your region. Looks like that might be, oh, there's Celia there, great. Kia ora, Celia. Just getting into the walks that are around Masterton.
Hi, Celia. You have to take your microphone, turn your microphone on, Celia. Still can't hear.
Yeah, it's a bit light.
Can't hear.
Oh dear, we're just, can you hear?
We can hear you,
It's
Tracy.
very light, Celia. Yeah, you can hear me, can't you? It's very light.
Tracy, can you hear Celia?
I can, but it's very light, so I'm thinking I'm hearing what you're hearing as well. I don't know if you can hear me okay, Celia, but it's really hard to hear you. and I think it'll be wherever your microphone is. I know you don't have a handpiece, but wherever your microphone is might be a little bit too far away from your voice.
Just while we wait, Tracy, do you wanna, what was Gary's question again, Gary?
Oh, it's just really what the Masterton input was in this festival.
Yeah, so I'm now going to try and remember my boundaries off the top of my head, of course, for the Wairarapa, but is Homewood part of your patch?
Yep. Yes.
Yep, there is, right. So there's a walk out at Homewood. The inaugural walk, or the starter walk, is actually in Masterton, so that's around Henley Lake. We're just looking, Celia, if you can hear us, we're just looking at all the walks that are around Masterton. Oh, lean further in and shout quite loudly, and I think we'll be right. I'm not sure what's wrong there.
No sound here.
Oh, no, that's not Ken either, sorry, Celia. I'm just trying to open up the list of the walks. So,
look, Tracy, I don't really need to just know the names of them, but there's a number of walks in Masterton.
There is a lot of walks around Masterton for us, which is fantastic. There is quite a few around there in that region. I definitely knew the Homewood and the Henley Lake, which is always our starter walk. So we always seem to start with Henley Lake every year, so it's on the first day. And then we go just south into Gladstone, which I know is Carterton, not your region. Can I open my notes I had from the weekend?
That's fine.
I feel really embarrassed. I can't say all the ones from Masterton, sorry.
That's all right, Tracy. What you've got a lot of walks now. How many of those walks are free and available to anyone who just wants to turn up?
Well, we try to encourage people to book if we can, just because obviously that's good from a logistical planning perspective. But it doesn't mean to say you can't just turn. You wouldn't be included. But our preference is definitely from a health and safety perspective that people do book on. So all of the events now are up on Event Finder. And there's only 2 that you have to pay for.
Oh, right, yep.
Yeah. So one's the Wine and Olive Walk up down in Gladstone. So with the booking fees, that ends up about $55, but you do get $30 worth of vouchers for product from that. So it is a pretty good option for people.
And is 475 what you typically have on any given year is for participants?
Yeah, I mean, you could probably even think that possibly a lot more than that. There's also, I think Celia just popped something in the chat. So she popped the Pacifica and the Accessibility Walk and the Dog Walk are all in Masterton as well. And it's growing from 120 in our first year through, getting upwards of 500. And, sometimes it could be even more than that, because bear in mind some of the walks are done through other organisations, such as Parkrun. So we will have that as part of it as well. And we go all over the Wairarapa, from obviously all through Masterton. There's all the towns are in there, and all the way up to Castle Point as well. We've got walks out there.
Any more questions?
No, thank you, Tracy, and thanks, Celia. And we'll be back to you as a result after the deliberations next week, okay? So thanks for your time and thanks for your presentation.
Okay, thanks so much. I'm sorry it wasn't as streamlined as we had hoped.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Ka kite.
Ka kite. Peter ready, wasn't it? Oh, yeah. Hi, Peter.
Good afternoon. How are you guys going?
Good, thanks, Peter. So we've got Peter Ames from the Wairarapa Balloon Society. So, Peter, you've got 7 minutes to present and share, and then we'll have 3 minutes for questions after that. So go for it, Peter. It's all yours.
Not a problem at all. This will be fairly brief. You have kindly given the Wairarapa Balloon Festival amount of money each year to run the Balloon Festival. So this is a reasonably well tried and true track. For the Easter, that next Balloon Festival will run on Easter 24, that's 28th of March to the 1st of April. from Thursday through to the Monday. So this year, next year, it will be 5 days of free activities. The committee have decided not to run the night flow, which we did quite successfully this year. So it is the morning ascensions and then flying in the afternoon as well. So daily ascensions commencing at dawn for those people who like to get up nice and early in the crisp day, and they will be from different locations around the Wairarapa, hopefully from each day, but we are a little dependent on the weather. So the dawn flights go in, and then depending on the weather, the wind predominantly, we try and get an afternoon flight in as well. We intend to have a static burner parade like we did this year, and that'll be in Masterton, which attracted probably about 2,000 people this year. And a cold and flak balloon, we have two of them, a smaller one and a large one, which is available for community events throughout Easter in different locations, and I think we had it in 4 different places this year, and we'll be doing probably a similar number this year. So all of that's free of charge. For the balloonists, we'll have a balloon flying competition, so we are revamping a little bit this year, bringing in a couple of extra categories. There will be a longest flight, and there will be the traditional precision flying. So that's flying into a location and also dropping little baggies in different locations around the countryside. So it'll be a pretty big, spectacular event, activity, visual for all of the people in the Wairarapa, and we get lots of visitors coming from the neighbouring regions, principally Manawatu, some from the Hawke's Bay, and a lot of people who come over from Wellington just to see it. Quite often they come across in the morning, and then spend all the day in the Wairarapa at the other tourist activities and places to spend money in the Wairarapa. In terms of advertising and feedback to the community, we have a Facebook site and a website, so they will be prominently displayed, and we have about 30,000 visitors to the Facebook site during the festival on a regular basis. So that's basically what we're doing. You have the budget there and elements, so taking any questions.
Right, Bex?
Yeah, hi. Excuse me, Peter. Your event costs on your application, are they based on your changed schedule?
Sorry, are they based on what was the question?
On the changed itinerary?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and my next question is, do you still sell sponsorship to each event, like naming rights, or like it used to be the whatever night glow or the whatever balloon ascension? So do you still sell sponsorship to individual events during the program?
Yes, we have. Each of the daily ascensions have the ability to attract a sponsor. During the last, I joined here in late 2020, it has been increasingly difficult to get community sponsors or commercial sponsors to support them. Last year, the Wairarapa Building Society sponsored or had one of the ascensions, and they are looking at the possibility of doing it again next year. But and we had some commercial sponsorship from Mitsubishi Wairarapa, and they are looking at it again, but probably not a cash amount, but perhaps providing goods in kind, for example, vehicles for us to use during the weekend. So not a lot of commercial sponsorship, and it is becoming quite difficult to get those daily ascension sponsors.
So in the spreadsheet you've supplied where it says event income, does that commercial relate to that sponsorship?
All of the event income is in there. We apply to Trust House, the 3 councils, and Eastern Community Central Trust. So most of the income actually comes from those. We derive no income from the paying puppet for 2024.
Oh no, my question was you haven't listed any sponsorship income there?
Let's see.
No, that's why I asked the question.
Yeah, that's fine. So.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have a look on see information about event costs, commercial was 5,000 in there in terms of contributions.
Thank you.
Gary?
Okay, Peter. Peter, not having the night glow, I take it that that's quite a hit on the financial component of this balloon festival.
Very much so. The committee decided they wish to run the night glow every second year, so it was quite successful this year. And they are going to run it again in 2025, but you're quite right, there is no income generated from the balloon flying activities. All the income comes from sponsorship, from commercial and the councils and the trusts.
Thanks, Peter. Any more questions? No. Peter, thanks very much for your presentation and your time. So we'll be back to you next week with the outcomes of your application. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your consideration. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Thank all the time. It's because time keeps nudging me.
Every time we get on back, every time we get close to time, I kick.
Yeah, every time. Every time. You're doing well.
I'm not sure who we have.
Hi, who have we got here in the lobby? Is this Rebecca?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, who have we got in the lobby? Who's this?
It's Rebecca Stevens from Mahitahi Tato.
Oh, thank you, Rebecca. So, Rebecca, you've got 7 minutes to share, and then we'll have 3 minutes of questions following that, okay?
Okay.
So go for it, Rebecca. It's all yours.
Alrighty, I'm not all that sure what to share because the grant that we applied for is for our ongoing operating costs, and it's around community wellbeing but also employment because we were set up a couple of years ago to enable good lives for people with disabilities through education, employment, social and community participation. I think, because I can't access my computer because I broke it this morning, hence me being on the phone, I don't know if that makes any difference to what you can see or hear. I haven't been able to have a good look at the application today, but basically we started off with a day program and then things kind of grew from there. We have a lawn mowing social enterprise where we employ people with disabilities to work alongside able-bodied people, and earlier this year we set up an op shop. It was just going to be a pop-up shop, but it went so well that we've continued it. So we started that in about April, and we now have around 30 volunteers. Most of them have either chronic health conditions, disabilities, or mental health challenges. And we're wanting to expand what we're doing to be able to employ people. Probably mostly people who are on a supported living benefit so that they can only work less than 15 hours a week. So we're working quite closely with WINS. But we want to extend the business so that we've got more of a workshop. So at the moment our philosophy is to not throw anything out. So we try and reuse things, repurpose them. We do up furniture to sell, because we really don't want to be contributing to the landfill, and we would like to be able to have someone supervise the workshop and then pay people to work in the workshop. We've got probably about 4 volunteers, or 5, actually probably about 6 of the shop volunteers are doing that at the moment. So really the application was around supporting that so that we can get it kind of running better. So the application was around rent costs and things like that, and wages. Yeah, I took the community wellbeing section, although we kind of fit it into the employment and the environment section a little bit too.
Any questions? Yes, Gary?
Rebecca, when you're talking about people with disabilities, is that disabilities right across the spectrum?
Yeah, yeah. So we have people with physical disabilities, intellectual disabilities, neurodiversity. Our board is made up of myself, who has mental health challenges, our board of chair, who has ADHD and ASD, and also our other member, her child has a intellectual disability. So we kind of cover everything, and we set up initially because idea services were turning people away from their day program, and it kind of has all kind of blossomed from there. The day program that we set up ended up being more of a drop-in, and then we set the shop up, and so now people are dropping in and volunteering formally and informally here, and stopping by for coffee and a chat and stuff like that. So we have, yeah, a huge variety of people and capabilities.
Thank you. Rebecca, it's Tim here. How many people are actually employed?
So at the shop, one.
Yep.
We've recently employed a shop manager for 10 hours a week.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions, anyone? Manama?
Are you behind, oh hello Rebecca, it's Manama speaking.
Hi.
Are you behind the Molan gallery wall?
Yes. That's another thing that kind of took up off, yeah. And so because we're kind of organic, so our one of our key values is self-determination, so people decide for themselves what they want. So that's kind of why we've gone in these directions rather than what the board thought was going to happen. Yeah, so it's kind of organic depending on need in the community, really.
Thank you.
Right, thank you, Rebecca. So we'll be back in touch with you next week after we've made decisions around the applications. Thanks for your time and thanks for your presentation.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Kevin, can you hear us?
I can you hear me?
Yep, we can, loud and clear. So we've got Kevin Sinnott from the UP Foundation. So Kevin, just a reminder that you're being live streamed and that you have 7 minutes to present, and then after that there'll be 3 minutes of questions from us. So go for it, Kevin, all yours.
Excellent, and I'll try and keep it under 7 minutes. I know you've had a busy day, so good day everyone. My name's Kevin Sinnott from UP Foundation. My background way back was as a youth worker, and then I became a journalist, and for the last decade or so I've been working in central government for various government agencies, including the last year and a half my day job's been with Te Whaka Ora, with public health, including regional public health, which covers up into the Wairarapa, so we're very closely with our team based up your way. About 18 months ago, a group of friends and I started a foundation called the UP Foundation. The goal was really, we identified there was a lot of kids that were dropping out or not attending activities, whether it be sport, swimming, creative activities, huge drop-off post-COVID, but really accelerating a trend that has been going on for quite a while, where the user pays model for kids' activities has worked for some, but hasn't worked for many. So in the last 18 months, we've grown a lot quicker than we thought we would. The need is massive. We're doing a range of creative programs in Wellington, including art, music and drama. We're also funding some school basketball teams. We're running a volleyball program for Muslim rangatahi, young women in Lower Hutt, which is going gangbusters. And we're also doing various swimming and water confidence programs around the country. Started off in Wellington City with a Sunday afternoon community program, which is still going now into our 5th term, getting into our 6th term, and also supporting schools in Palmerston North and Porirua. And we started a really exciting partnership with Seattle 2 Rugby League Club up in Auckland, and hopefully looking like we're going to start another project with Canterbury Rugby League Club next year, which is really exciting. So one of the things we identified coming in and working through these various swimming programs is that the system is basically broken. All the stats tell you that, the number of kids that get to high school and can't swim, the number of kids that aren't attending, the number of drownings we have, the system is broken. So our goal is to continue to break the system and rebuild it how it should look. So that's what we're doing, and we're doing it really well, particularly in Porirua. So this year we started a project with Glenview School in Cairns Creek. Every kid gets a lesson every Monday morning. Attendance on Mondays is through the roof. It's now fed into greater school attendance throughout the whole week. And immense pride being taken at the school. And we've now got some funding through from this order to expand that across 19 what was called low decile or high equity index schools in Porirua next year. The goal is that by the end of next year we'll have 3,000 kids in Porirua swimming every week for free. And the exciting thing is it's not that expensive, about $70 per kid per year to swim for the entire year. But we're reversing a trend now that's been going on for decades. There are no swimming sports in Porirua anymore because none of the kids are confident enough. So it's going to take us 5 or 10 years to rebuild that system. But the goal is that we're going to be developing confident kids that want to turn up to school, feel active. And we want now to expand that program into the Wairarapa. Have been talking to the local swim school and talking to local schools over the last few weeks and months, and talking to parents and friends up there. And unfortunately your system is also broken and it needs to be rebuilt. And so what we want to do is start a pilot next year modelling what this can look like, what good looks like, and giving kids real swimming at a young age where they can make sure that by year 6 they're confident swimmers. And that will feed into greater attendance at school, that will feed into better nutrition, more confident kids, less mental health problems down the road. So next year is very much piloting, like we're doing in Porirua this year, with the goal of expanding into a full program in 2025 and beyond. our dream is to do what they've done up in Tairāwhiti, up in Gisborne, where government funding was pulled from swimming 2014-15. The locals got together, set up their own trust, and now 46 out of 49 schools all the way up the East Cape swim every year, 10 free lessons, an amazing program, best in the country, and there's no reason why in 2 or 3 years the Wairarapa couldn't have a similar project. So this application is about getting a project underway, showing to the community what good looks like, and then getting the community to support it. I'm really confident that this will attract major money from the likes of Wakaris, from Nuka Ora, who are already supporting our project in Parirua. But we need to start from somewhere, which is what this application is about. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Kevin. Any questions? Anyone? So Stella?
Yeah, hi Kevin, thanks for your application. Just around the other funders, you've got 500 private donations, but you're looking at 14.5 from us. Have you reached out to any other grant possibilities within Masterton or the Wairarapa?
Yeah, we have been talking to a few different funders. We applied through COP and were unsuccessful through there. I have been talking to several business owners I know based in Masterton around supporting the project as well. So, you know, we're going to do this, but we do need someone, the first person to put some money on the table is going to help us do it. You know, it's the same thing in Parirua, that the first bit of funding has helped accelerate the process. We got a $50,000 grant last week from Nuka Ora, which is going to massively expand that project, and I'm really confident if we were to get even 5,000-10,000 from you now, in a year's time, Nuka Ora would come on board with a similar investment into your community as they put into Parirua, because the need is the same. What we need to do is show what good looks like, and that will attract support and attract funding. You know, and so you know, this is very much the start of the process. And you know, as you are well aware, and looking at the long list of applications, you've got a pretty competitive market out there. But we think we've got a model that really works, and we're showing how it's working in Parirua, and I think it will work with you guys as well.
Gary?
Thanks, Kevin. Kevin, you talk about about having 2 Masterton schools in low-income areas. So you've already got those schools signed up?
Yeah, so we're currently talking to 11 schools. The other project that we're doing is with Capital Football. So just very briefly, we started funding futsal in Wellington last year. In term 1 we had 37 teams playing for free from 11 schools. We've now got some funding to expand that project into the Wairarapa, so we're looking to start a futsal league and do school clinics term 4, term 1. And so as part of that project I've been talking to and reaching out to 11 different schools around Masterton around that project, and also talking to them about what they're doing with swimming. But you know what it's going to be is probably 1 or 2 schools that are going to grab this opportunity and say, yep, let's do it, and commit to it, and that will lead their kids to commit to it. And you know, we'll see the same results we've seen in Glenview, where more kids are attending school on swimming days and all that sort of thing. So you know, we're not going to have enough money to run with all 11 schools. We are going to have enough money to provide football for those 11 schools, including country schools, for the next 6 months. But for swimming, it's going to be talking to the schools about what they're doing, and 1 or 2 of them will put their hand up and say, yep, we want to run this pilot, and that's who we'll work with.
And you do, if this gets off the ground, you would be doing this in the Masterton pool, in our community.
Yeah, we would. Yeah. I mean, you know, the outdoor pools have a surface and they're good, but they're not really the best model for kids committing to learning to swim and getting to the point where at, you know, age 10 or 11 they're confident swimmers. We need to give them good facilities, and you've got a good facility. But you know, talking to Belgravia who run that pool, you know, there's a number of schools that aren't swimming there. There's a number of schools that are only swimming there, minimal age group. We're also huge believers in getting kids involved at age 7 and 8, year 3 and 4. a really good age to start learning physical and creative activities, so that it gives us 3 or 4 years to work with them. So by the time they get to intermediate, or in some cases to high school in year 9, they've already cracked swimming. We believe it's too late to start swimming in year 6. It needs to happen earlier.
Thank you. Bex?
Yeah, thank you. So you've spoken with Belgravia, so your programs would replace what's currently being run out of there?
No, they've got heaps of capacity. They've got lots of capacity, as most swim schools around the country have. There's a huge amount of capacity, 9 to 3. Most of the programs we're running, including what we're proposing in this program, will be run during school hours, and that's really just to maximise attendance and maximise the number of kids that are being exposed. Funding anything outside of school hours, there's so many variables that are brought into it, but there's plenty of capacity at Trust House, particularly during terms 2 and 3, so even during terms 1 and 4, there's plenty of capacity for more kids to be swimming more often.
And do you charge the schools?
No, so we pay Belgravia, we pay commercial rate, and the reason we pay commercial rate is, we don't want a situation where, they give us a discount for a term and then someone else comes along and is going to pay full price. We want to get the best service for our kids. We want them to have the same level of service and the same level of instruction as everyone else who's paying does. So we pay commercial rate. Talking to Belgravia, and we've seen this in both Porirua and Palmerston North, awesome to see 19, 20-year-old university students or people straight out of school working part-time who are getting extra hours because of the funding we're putting in. We've got a young Polynesian woman who's running our program in Wellington, 18-year-old, who's gone from part-time to full-time, now getting leadership opportunities because of the funding we're putting into that program. So there's multiple benefits to the community, not just for the kids that are swimming.
Thank you.
Any more questions? No. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for your presentation. So we'll be in touch next week with the outcome for your application. So thanks for your time and thank you for your presentation.
Awesome. Enjoy that. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Hi Rowan, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So we've got Rowan Kahufluri from the Garden to Table Trust. So Rowan, just a reminder, you're being live streamed, and also you have 7 minutes to present, and there'll be about 3 minutes of questions from us at the end. So go for it.
Does it work to share a slideshow?
Hopefully, yep.
Okay. Cool.
Yep, we can see it.
You can see that there?
Yep.
Lovely.
Cool, so I work for an organisation called the Garden to Table Trust, and we are a nationwide organisation that's been going for almost 15 years now. And we started off with 3 schools in Auckland, and now we've grown to almost 300 schools throughout the country. So, why does Masterton need a Garden to Table? So we really believe in empowering tamariki as the change makers. We're disrupting the loss of knowledge and skills in the garden and kitchen and bringing essential life skills back. This has a huge array of health, wellbeing, environmental and community benefits. So it's a really robust program that they had the time to be tested in schools, and it really shows the benefits that there are for the community. So our 4 PO of the program are to grow, harvest, prepare and share. So that takes place every week within these schools. And through these 4 PO, these 4 important components of the program, the kids are learning all kinds of things and being involved in their own food security, learning where their food comes from, getting good nutrition. They're learning about reducing food waste. It's got huge flow-on effects for the sustainability within communities, within kids being able to lead that change, sharing nutrition and well-being with their families as well. So these are just some photos and some examples of ways that the program is used. So it's each week, and the group of kids that take part in the program are split between the mata and out in the garden, or they're in the kitchen, and it's usually an hour in each. So there's some kids out in the garden, they're cooking and preparing using the food that they've grown in the mata. And then they come together at the end to share, and sometimes that's sharing just amongst the kids themselves. Often other teachers or the principal are invited to come and share, or members of the community as well. So it's a great time for the kids to practice their manaakitanga and actually have a bit of a chat, bit of a sit down with their teachers and have a bit of a kōrero and some time together over some delicious food. So what does it look like in the Masterton region? So we currently have 5 schools that are involved in the Garden to Table program, so that's over 750 students. You'll see in the photos here, there's these are all Masterton kids involved in the program. All of the schools in Masterton have started the program within the last 2 years, which means that they are still needing quite a lot of support to set up the program and to have it really functioning to its full potential. And we've also had interest from other schools in the region. So what we're applying for in the grant, for the grant funding, is for me, for my role, which is as the regional coordinator in the Wairarapa region. I help new schools to come on board and to facilitate their program in the best way possible. It's a little bit different in every school, helping them to gather the right resources, the right people, make the right connections within the community, that help them have a really successful program for the tamariki. I also offer trainings to teachers and termly hui for all the schools that are involved in our program, and that's a chance for them to come together, to do some new learning, and to connect with other schools who are also running the program and develop that sense of community around what they're doing. We also work with other organisations within the community, so Enviro Schools, Te Kuro Papatunuku, the Earth School, and lots of other organisations that are on board with things like this and offer support to schools, sometimes businesses and things like that that can offer support or materials or whatever to help with the program. So the funding will go towards my salary, my mileage for being able to visit the schools, and my costs of the home office that I incur from working from home. Yeah, so that is all that I have to say. That was nice and short and sweet, because I know you guys have a lot to get through today. So that is an overview of the program and of what specifically we do in Masterton and what my role would be covering for those schools. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Ryan. Any questions? So Bex?
Yeah, hi. Are you targeting any other schools in Masterton?
Yeah, we are. We run on an inquiry basis. So because the program has the best success when the school are on board and when the management and that are behind it, we don't like to sort of cold call or go into schools. So it's mainly schools that we're connected with through other programs or other meetings. And we do have at least 3 other schools that have expressed an interest in the Masterton district.
So my next question would be, because this is to support your role, if you get more schools on board, would your costs increase?
Possibly my hours would increase slightly, but because of the my base hours involve all of my connection with the team and these termly hui's, the cost wouldn't increase dramatically per school. There'd have to be quite a big increase in schools for my hours to dramatically increase.
And do the schools buy into the program?
Yeah. So there's a cost. There's a cost to sign up for the initial membership, and then there's a yearly membership fee. And then the schools are also responsible for paying the staff who run the program. So it is a commitment for schools financially as well.
Can I just ask what the cost is to schools and the annual fee, please?
Sure. So it's $299 plus GST in the first year, and then it's $99 plus GST for all subsequent years.
Thank you.
Gary?
Hi, Ron. Ron, do you work alongside other organisations like here in Masterton? We've got Sustainability Wairarapa, for instance. So, do you look to working alongside organisations like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do a lot of collaborative stuff. EnviroSchools is our main one. So we run cluster hui and stuff with schools through EnviroSchools as well, and go along and do PD with teachers and stuff through that. But I'm also part of a network of sustainable educators within the Wairarapa, and so whenever we see opportunities, for example, I'm going along to a school with some of the staff from the Wairarapa Earth School, and we're going to collaboratively run a workshop for one of the schools in composting and fruit tree guilds. So yeah, we definitely look to collaborate where possible.
Thank you. Bex?
Yeah, just one other question. So garden to table, is that all through New Zealand?
Yeah, we're nationwide.
Okay, and your area is Wellington, Wairarapa, or?
Wairarapa and Upper Hutt, and then we have another coordinator who looks after
how many schools?
Lower Hutt.
How many schools would you have Wellington to Upper Hutt involved?
In the Wellington region?
Yeah, in your area.
In my area, I've got 10 schools that I'm looking after, and I work 10 hours a week.
Okay, thank you.
Rowan, for that, I think you said 300 schools are on the program. Have they been in the program long term? Like, the schools drop out, or is there a real stickability?
We have the occasional school that drops out because it's not working, or they have a change of staff and aren't able to facilitate the program anymore. But generally, we have a really good retention rate, and we have lots of schools who have been running the program for 5+ years and have a really, really robust system, and it's all embedded within the school kaupapa, and yeah, it's something that the kids really know as part of their school curriculum, and part of the stuff they're learning in the gardens and things are really part of their school community.
So, and have you must have set up a good process for schools to get on board with this?
Yeah, so because we're nationwide, we have the benefit of staff who are in charge of things like that. We have a curriculum manager and a communications manager and things like that. So when new schools come on board, we have a complete package to support them with lots of information about how they can set up gardens and kitchen spaces that will work for them, some ideas of ways they can get support from the community or get the resources that they need. And there's a really prepared system for getting them through that initial process. And that's why the cost is a little bit more in that first year of signing up, because it does require a bit more from my role. We're a lot more present within that first year, helping them to set up their systems so that the program can continue in a sustainable way.
Manama?
Kia ora. You probably need resources like seeds and hand forks and trowels. Where is that part of the expenses?
Yes, so we have organisations that so companies that we work with that offer giveaways, and they give stuff to schools when they first sign up as well. And then we also have discounts with companies that our schools can access. But essentially, yeah, the costs of, for example, pantry items and things like that fall to the school. But they can make use of our, so for example, we give them a whole lot of seeds and stuff to begin with. We have 20 schools every term who get given a garden package of tools and hoses and all this kind of stuff. So there's, we try to support where we can, but we're a charity, so we're completely grant funded. So yeah, we often don't have the funds ourselves to be able to provide for every school within our program.
Any more questions? No. Thank you, Rowan. Thanks for your presentation. So we'll get back to you. We'll get back to you in the next week or so, just with the outcome from your application. So thank you for your time and thank you for sharing.
Lovely.
Yes.
Kia ora koutou. Thank you.
Bye. You guys like really hot.
Yeah, it's really
Can
hot.
you put the heat on?
So I don't know, a photo of that.
Oh, it's melting. Put a jacket on. This is a cold one. Thanks, Harriet. Is she ready? Yeah. Was it on 28? God, the room was. Does anyone here wear a tie? Council? No, not generally. I'd wear it for a service.
Celia's got a letter he sent in on Celia on the cycling one. She's put a letter on there for us to read.
Yeah. For the one. Walking.
Just so that it's a good idea.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes.
Hi, is that Jane?
No,
Is it Jen?
video isn't working right. That's Trish. Sorry.
Oh, it's 2:45.
Trish,
is this Trish Wilkinson?
Yes.
Trish, you're very early, but you can go now if you're ready to go.
For 2:30, I thought it was.
2:45.
Oh, 2:45 then. Okay, one can go away. We've just had trouble getting a connection. I don't know whether your video isn't working.
We've got no one. The people who are... Okay. So if you just wait about 10 minutes, we've got our next person about to start, and then you can jump in after that. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks. So if I just stop.
And hi Jen.
Hello.
Hello. So Jen, just a reminder that you're being live streamed as well, and you've got 7 minutes to present, and then at the end of the 7 minutes we'll have about 3 minutes of questions, okay? So the floor is yours, go for it.
Thank you. So Masterton Young Citizens Club, as you know, is one of Masterton's oldest clubs, and we've supported the community in all different varieties of ways through culture and sport and athletics and all those sorts of things, and we have been going from strength to strength over the last 5 years. So we've significantly improved the club. We've invited 2 new organisations to train with us. So we now have the Fortitude Gym and Go Submission, which is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and they have been absolutely loving the space that we've provided for them. So we now attract a whole heap more youth and their whānau to our club. We received a really significant and very much appreciated grant from Trust House Foundation to improve the bathrooms that were back from the 1950s, and we've invited the committee and council members to come and view our club and see what we've got there and the facilities that we've got several times. We'd still love for you to come and visit us and see, that absolutely golden space that we have, which is probably one of Masterton's largest gym spaces, open gym spaces, and there's an incredible opportunity there to be adding more services for the community during the day. So I won't go over all of the things that you've read through in the application, all of the awesome wins that we've had in terms of our youth and being selected for to represent New Zealand, and the medals and things that they've won, because I think that stands alone and speaks for itself. But what I will tell you is that we're well on the way to putting in brand new bathrooms and changing room facilities, and that for us is going to be a massive game changer. It's going to mean that we're going to be able to open our club during the day to mums and bubs, Pilates, CrossFit, a whole variety of different organisations that hopefully share our kaupapa, which is to provide an opportunity for youth and all of Masterton to come together as a community, part of a whānau, and train, exercise mind, body and spirit, and be able to do that in an affordable way
with the cost of living crisis, we understand that, you know, sometimes kids are impacted hard. It means that there's not a lot of extra money to go around for kids to do sport, to play, to enjoy, and times can be tough for whānaus as well. So sometimes family homes aren't necessarily the best. And what we want to do is we want to provide a safe space where people can come, that kids can come and enjoy and train and receive the guidance and mentorship that they need, as well as involve their whānau, so that the whānau is getting a break and the whānau is actually encompassed and held as it goes through those tough times. One of the ways we do that is we keep our fees really low. We are ridiculously cheap. Our sessions for children are around about $1.50 a session. And we quite often will have the kids for an hour or an hour and a half, which gives families a really good break. And the kids come back and they are full of endorphins after training. They are happy. They've received some really good kōrero from our trainers and our mentors and older students as well. And you know, for $1.50 for an hour, that's the cheapest, you know, professional babysitting service I've ever heard of. But what we want to do is make sure that we can keep doing that. We want to make sure that those whānaus that are most affected in our community still have the ability to come train and to get that care in a really open and inviting environment that doesn't have any agencies or any other sort of overbearing, I don't know what the word for it is, control, that they're just allowed to be who they want to be and be supported to get as far ahead as they possibly can and do the very best for their children. And so in order to do that, we've got to look at the fact that we've been impacted by the cost of living. Our rates have gone up, our insurance has hugely gone up, and what we're asking for is more than what we have received from you in the past. And I understand that there's a lot less money to go around, and you know, I look at the people speaking today and there's some really worthy causes, but I just want to assure you that our cause is really worthy and we do a lot of good, and we have done for close to 70 years in Masterton. So what we're asking you for is our direct costs, is to help us cover our direct costs. We're all volunteers. There's at least 10 people in our executive committee that are committed to doing these things. We spend hours and hours and hours every month completely unpaid and happy to do that, because we'd rather do that and give back to our community than raise our fees and impact the people that we want to impact the most, right? And so we don't take a wage ourselves, we don't pay, our trainers are all unpaid, and they come religiously every week, and they train these kids and they train these adults, and you know, they are passionate and motivated people, and we love them, absolutely love them, and their hearts are all about community and giving back. So that's a little bit about us and where we want to go and our kaupapa, and the reason why we're asking for the money from you is really just to keep us going so that we can continue to put as much as we can into the building and having a premises where we can become self-supporting through other adults basically supporting the children's side of things. So hopefully the adults are happy to pay a little bit more, knowing that what they pay goes to supporting the children. Questions?
Thanks, Jen. So any questions? Malama?
Your building, thank you very much, is your building, do you own it?
We own the building. Trustlands Trust owns the land, and they're absolute angels as well. So because we're a charitable organisation, they charge us a rental fee, and then they grant that back to us. So and we have a perpetual lease with them that we have that we talk to them every year to make sure that we are meeting the standards and things that they require of our building. But I hate to say it, but you know, the building is old and requires significant maintenance, and we've fundraised a hell of a lot of money. Again, all voluntary fundraising, gifts from wonderful organisations for raffles, and you know, we've done challenges and fun runs and all sorts of things to raise money so that we can do the essential maintenance on the building.
Stella?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a question. Thank you for your presentation, by the way. What makes you different from other similar sports groups like yourselves? What makes you different to the others?
I think what makes us different is our kaupapa. We really understand how difficult it is for families out there, and we always have. And so what we do is we put that support around them. We don't charge them a whole heap. You know, it's an affordable opportunity to come, and we gently, in a very loving, caring environment, wrap the support around them without dictating, without being controlling, without any connotations. We don't come from a place of you must do this or judgment, you know, like we can have those friendly conversations as a whānau member and provide, you know, reach around and provide support. I mean, one of our boys was coming to the club and had no shoes. So we just rallied around and we bought the boys some shoes. And then we had the conversation, you know, with them about, you know, hey, what else do you need? Do they have you got enough clothes? You know, can we get you some clothes? Can we get you, what do you need in your whānau to make life easier for you? So I think that's really what makes us different, is that we wrap support around.
Yeah, thank you.
Jen, so is it about accessibility for adults as well as children? So are the memberships for adults accessible to pretty much anyone?
Yeah, they are. I mean, we've got to be the cheapest gym around. You know, I think for adults it works out to be about $6 a gym session, and that's with almost like a personal trainer. And you know, in a really open and friendly environment. So you're not in a gym with a whole heap of other random people. You're coming into a whānau. You know, people ask about how your day is and all that kind of thing at the same time as training with us. Most people get involved somehow in that kaupapa. So yes, it's about affordability for adults, but also having the adults understand that if they can pay a little bit more, that would be appreciated, and we can sort of help the kids.
Thanks. Gary?
Yeah, Gary here. Jen, it seems like you're actually developing yourselves into as much as a community hub as anything else. Is that the way you're heading?
Yes, absolutely. That's what we want to be able to do. It's like the long-term business plan for the charity and the organisation is to be able to have facilities, whānau rooms and friendly environments for you know, comfortable conversations. We'd love to have, you know, a physiotherapist, an osteopath, a sports massage, you know, all of those sorts of things in our building that is completely accessible, and where everybody actually loves and buys into our kaupapa. So that's why we're putting so much effort into fundraising to up the standard and quality of the building, because we understand that we can't invite all these other groups that will actually help support that without having a really good quality facility. And so, you know, it's a hard grind, it's a long grind, but we're all really dedicated and motivated to making it happen.
Thanks, Jen.
Any more questions?
Thanks, Jen. So what will happen is we'll be in touch with you by the end of next week just with the result of your application. So thank you for your time and thank you for your presentation.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you, Jen. Kia pai tōra.
Bye-bye. Right, hi, is that Richard?
Yes, Richard here.
Hi Richard, so we've got Richard Jeffrey from Men in Trauma New Zealand Limited. So Richard, just a heads up that you're being live streamed with this, and that you have 7 minutes to present, and then there'll be 3 minutes of questions after that. So the floor is yours, Richard.
Great, thanks very much. So, Who's Men in Trauma New Zealand, we are an agency that specialises in male services. We specialise in trauma. What does that mean? The reason we position ourselves as a male service is because there are so few, and some men prefer to talk to another man rather than talk to other people who they may seek help from, something to do with the male identity, possibly. As for trauma, what I mean by that is that a lot of things can cause long-lasting psychological trauma in any individual. That manifests in a number of ways, usually later in life, especially if it was childhood trauma, that can cause long-term disruption to people's thinking and behaviour. What we normally see that appear as is, especially for men, addictions, anger, suicidal behaviours, amongst other things. There are agencies that work in those different fields. Our approach, though, is to work on the underlying issues and not focus so much on the, shall we say, symptoms. So a lot of very good programs out there, such as stopping violence programs and addiction rehab programs. We feel that our work supplements that, complements that, and so we come from a different operating philosophy. It's becoming more common overseas, and our material, some of our material is licensed to us by a very reputable agency in Canada. It is one of the world leaders in trauma work, especially with men. Their name is Men and Healing Ottawa. You may wish to Google them, but in any case, that is why we have this operating name and philosophy. In particular, we use therapeutic groups with a number of issues that men are faced with. We have a group for suicidal effects, that is, being bereaved or affected by suicide. We have a group for men in relationships. We have relationship difficulties, that's very popular. We have a group for men affected by abortion. That's a new one. We think it's the only group in New Zealand at the moment. A lot of men experience what we call disenfranchised grief, where they feel that they don't know how to react to the experience, and usually a lot of people, there's not a lot of support for them. We also have a group for men generally who have experienced other non-specific trauma, or that is to say, rather that their issues with dealing with are quite broad, and generally those individuals who have identified in some way, maybe through a counsellor or therapist, that they have trauma, which is usually called PTSD or something like that, and they want to work on the trauma impacts, which mostly emotional dysregulation, out of control emotions in other ways, suicidal ideation is very common, as I've already mentioned. So that's a short story. I think, so why we've applied to Masterton City Council. We've had an office here for a while, which was has been funded by lotteries, and hopefully will be further in the Wairarapa Community Centre. But so far, all the men in the Wairarapa we've supported have mostly been over Zoom, what have you, online video app, or phone calls. And that's really just not good enough, it doesn't reach enough people. So we want to employ a local person. We aim to employ a Māori person because there's a lot of need in that community. As you can see maybe from a letter there, we're working with Whai Ora, and working quite close with them developing our training programs. And so we're hoping to get a community person so they can hit the ground running, they already know the community, and we can increase the outreach to men that we are aiming to support. See, that's a short story. Maybe I should just give you questions now to clarify anything I haven't thought of mentioning.
Right, Bex?
Yeah, hi, thank you. Just a question. You say you've already been working with clients in Masterton. Can you give us just some indications of numbers or demand or anything like that?
The numbers have been quite low, and we believe that's because there's not a face here. We need a face, somebody to represent and network. Typically, as I said, we get referrals, and I think agencies want to be confident that they know someone, they can trust somebody, which is why we're focused on getting a local person.
Thank you.
Richard, how will you look to promote the service in Masterton specifically?
Well, it's going to be part of the job description. At the moment, we have a very good, easy to find and read website. We have a Facebook page. But nothing beats having a local person who can distribute our material, go on network, build out potential referral agencies. This person will be key to increasing access for people.
Any more questions? Gary?
Do you work alongside other agencies, Richard, in terms of providing the service, or are you guys sort of the standalone?
Yeah, we're very much a new operating model. We take clients, we take referrals, agencies like victim support, probation, some medical agencies, but at the moment the Wellington office is the only place that can do face-to-face support. We're also applying to hut agencies supporting funding in a hut. We want to have the support available throughout the Wellington region. But we know Masterton has particular needs. A lot of social stats that I've seen about Masterton are poor, shall we say, and so this is not a trivial thing to us to aim to work in Masterton better. We really want to follow the need and do as much as we can here.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation, Richard, and for answering our questions. So what we'll do is we'll be back to you by the end of the next week with the result of your application. So thanks again for your time and for your for sharing.
Yeah, thanks for your time. I appreciate it, and yeah, hopefully we'll see more of you in the future.
Great, thank you. Yep.
Okay.
Just give us a second, Trish.
Yeah. I don't know whether I'm connected in. So, phone me up.
Right, so we have Trish Wilkinson from Manaaki Ki Wairarapa Charitable Trust. So Trish, just a heads up that you're being live streamed, and also you have 7 minutes to present, and then there'll be about 3 minutes of questions after that. So the floor is yours, Trish.
Okay, I've got here with me Richard Jackson, who is the chairman of the board, and Barbara Overton, who put in the application as, she volunteers to do fundraising activities for us. So basically, what we're applying for is we've been wanting to establish a medical outreach service because of so many of the people live so far out. It's 3/4 of an hour to get here for a start, and especially the ones that don't have doctors in the area, but and they can't come during normal working hours. So we're hoping to establish a couple of clinics to start with to see the demand and to support the community to get the healthcare they need without having to travel to do so. When we do these, we will be taking with us a podiatrist, a counsellor, a dietitian, anybody else that wants to join us and look after their people as well. So because all of those, the other sort of allied health services have the same problem, in that people don't turn up to their appointments because they've got to travel so far. Yeah, so basically the ones that have put their hand up to have a service once, and if we get funding to do so, would be Tanui and Alfredton. So yeah, basically that's all. I don't need 7 minutes to tell you any more. So just that all these other people, the counsellors, the chiropractor, anybody that runs a service in town will come out for 1 day a month, and we will go to the school hall or wherever, and we can do whatever and work with the other allied health. So like if there was somebody said that their kid needed a vaccination, then we would take the vaccinating team from Whaiora who do outreach vaccinations, and really it's just an added service that we can provide.
Right. Manama?
That's it for me. Sorry?
Thank you for your presentation. These health officials or health advisors that you'll be taking along to the clinics, are they already committed?
Sorry, that was breaking up. I couldn't really.
They've been what? Vetted?
I don't know. What?
Right.
Sorry, I couldn't catch all that.
The health people who are going to provide the services, like the podiatrists and the etc. Are they committed to going out with you already?
Yeah, if they've got, and we would have enough, lead up to it to say, okay, we're doing a clinic. If you've got any clients out that way, let us know, and they can make their own way out there. And it's just really an added service that we provide.
Thank you.
Gary?
Trish, I take it that a lot of your expenses will be travel?
Yes, I suppose so, yeah. And then the people will pay the fee for service. It won't be a free service.
Yeah.
Is there a sort of a really clear plan as to all the steps you'll go through to establish the service?
Yes. I mean, it's so long ago since I've been applying to various places to get this going. But yeah, basically, when we've got the money to have the separate, it's mainly this list of costs, so that we don't have to take machinery and stuff from here while we're still working here. So it's extra to the clinic that we run on the day-to-day basis. Yeah, that's
Yep, Stella.
Hi Trish, thank you. Just around other funding avenues, have you investigated any other areas of funding for this? Because I would imagine it would be something that quite a few people would be interested in.
Yeah, so we applied to the Trustlands Trust, but at that stage they didn't fund health.
Right.
Not very many people fund health. And then by the time they decided that they did fund health, we missed out on that last application. It closed, and we weren't ready. So I mean, obviously people think that the Ministry of Health should fund health, and to that end we actually have a big meeting tomorrow with the Te Whataora to just have one final discussion about the clinic overall, and its viability, and so that's a 2-hour meeting, which is going to be really good. So we haven't really funded, haven't applied to anybody else except the Trustlands Trust. So.
Thanks, Trish. Any more questions? Thank you, Trish. So what we'll do is we'll be back in touch with you on the result of your application by the end of next week. So thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Jane's let me know that the link isn't working for her, so what I can do is I can give her a call on speakerphone.
She's got to come upstairs at 2:55 before we start tea.
Do you want to get her to come now? Because we've finished, yeah.
Oh, so she's presenting in person.
That's ironic. this new worksheet can't get on. It's all your fault, Steve.
I know.
Since you started, we didn't have
Yeah, I know. That's my role. That was Steve.
For what's that?
Yeah, like those goats that just fall over when they get attacked.
Is she coming down?
Yes, she's just
Pulling up.
No red stars. What's that? No red stars.
Kia ora. How are you? Flustered, but the show must go on. Here we go. Have some water, catch your breath.
Right, just when you're ready, Jane.
Okay.
And you've got 7 minutes to present, and then 3 minutes for questions, and it's being live streamed as well, just your presentation. So when you're ready, just go for it.
Signing up. Okay. Whew. Right. Kia ora koutou. Kia ora. So I'm here to talk about the Wairarapa Film Festival, which has been running since 2021. And it is district-wide, but I'm here to talk specifically about what happens within the Masterton district today. And every year, something new gets introduced to the program, which I hope continues to grow into 2024 as well. But the entire kaupapa of the Wairarapa Film Festival is that it celebrates local film and filmmakers, and the programming has always included films that have been made by people from the Wairarapa or who connect to the Wairarapa, or filmmakers that have come to the Wairarapa to record and celebrate local stories. So it's always included animations, music videos, short films, feature films, documentaries. Some of them are made by local students and emerging filmmakers, and also it celebrates the enormous contributions that have been made by filmmakers who have won international awards and recognition. So, for example, I've always included films by Barry Barclay, who was born here in Masterton, attended Chanel College, and was part of the very first film production company that existed in Masterton, which was established in the early 1960s and operated out of offices above Regent Theatre. He went on and is widely regarded as one of the most significant filmmakers to contribute to international and Indigenous filmmaking worldwide. And it's always been a really big goal and aspiration of mine to share the films that he's made, to celebrate the contributions that he's made to New Zealand and international and Indigenous cinema, and to make sure that everyone knows about him. And I think one of the most gratifying feedback and comments that I've received during the film talks that always accompany the screenings is when a man put up his hand and said, why doesn't every single person in New Zealand know who Barry Barclay was? And I thought, I'm doing my job, because that's what I think too. Everyone should know who he is. Likewise with amazing filmmakers like Vincent Ward, who produced the film Vigil in 1981 and 1984, and his film was the very first New Zealand film to ever compete and be selected to compete in the Cannes Film Festival. So we've screened Vincent's films, and I've also always included radio broadcasts and podcasts with the filmmakers that feature in the festival program, and Vincent's always been 1,000% supportive. He gives his films to the festival, he waivers his screening rights, and he takes time out from shooting from international locations to actually make time to support the film festival through the radio broadcast and podcast, and he has said he will be here next year. I'm so thrilled about it. This has been my experience every time I approach filmmakers and ask if they would like to travel to Masterton and be part of the film festival. They always say yes. They always make time for us. And I love that. I love the participation. There are always film talks that accompany the screenings, which is something I'm really proud of. It's really aspirational to have that, but it's always worked every year as part of the programming. For me, it's always been really important to have that access from a guest speaker, whether it be a filmmaker or a historian or somebody that's acted or been part of the post-production. There's always somebody there to represent the film and to be able to engage and discuss with the audience the social and historical and cultural significance of the story that we've just seen. And it makes it possible for aspiring and emerging filmmakers to ask questions like, how did you begin your filmmaking career? What steps did you take to enter into the film industry? So it's been really gratifying to see the educational component of it. To that end, in 2022, I introduced that I'm taking youth filmmaking workshops into schools, and for example, in this year, students from Te Puna Māori, Wairarapa, Chanel College, Wairarapa College, and Chanel, they all participated in these one-day youth leadership training workshops, which connect the skills of filmmaking around creating stories around themes of sustainability, and also going through the processes of working together in a tuakana Taina leadership relationship. And the person that comes from Auckland, Chris, who delivers those workshops, he then offers a mentoring service throughout the year to those students who have actually participated in the workshops, and encourages them to enter into a nationwide filmmaking competition called the Sunday Challenge. And the students that, Karanui College, they had a one-day leadership workshop down in South Wairarapa as well. The students that participated in the filmmaking workshops this year, which was 30 students, they then also, within the course of that day, present their own film festival within their
schools. So they see from start to finish the processes of ideas generation, storyboarding, developing scripts, going out and filming, and then coming back and editing, and then screening to their schools. So I'm really proud of that component that's come into it too. I'm enormously proud of the community collaborations that take place as part of the Wairarapa Film Festival, which includes all the stories and interviews that get published into the Midweek and the Times Age, the archival image displays that are administered through the Wairarapa Archive, and also this year, for example, we had Dame Galen Preston come to present her film Learning Fast, which was amazing. We had former students from Dakota College who were in that film 43 years ago, coming and travelling to Masterton to connect with each other. They hadn't seen each other for 43 years. It was a really, really important and emotional screening. Dame Galen had just launched a biography about her life. She talks about coming and filming in Masterton and why she chose Dakota College, where she filmed for 2 years. And that then turned into a book signing event in the foyer that was facilitated through Headley's Books. So I'm really, really pleased with all the collaborations that happen in the community. So every year I look to include more components. For example, last year I formed a partnership with Victoria University, the Creative Media facility at Massey University in Wellington, and Screen Wellington paid for them to come over in busloads to participate in the screenings and the Q&As directly with the filmmakers. And those films range in genres from, I always have my Friday Fright Nights, which Gary's been to, and they're not that scary, are they? They're quite funny as well. and they're really entertaining, and the students bring with them a rich sort of eagerness to want to ask and participate in the film workshops afterwards. And I do call them workshops because they're asking those really intelligent and engaging questions about how an idea becomes projected onto a screen. So I get really excited. I'm excited that other people become excited and want to participate in it, and that people travel here to be part of the film festival. So in 2024, we've got, unless Vincent's got to go off in the world and film somewhere else, he's committed to coming, and we're going to screen a film that he made in 1981 called In the Spring One Plants Alone, and then the follow-up that he made in 2008, which goes back and looks at the backstory of the lead woman in that film, whose name is Puhi, who lived in a really remote area of the Iruwera Mountains. And he's coming back to talk in a very emotional address about why it was so important for him to go back and to honour Puhi's story. So that's a really exciting part for next year. I have filmmakers right now who are making films especially to screen for next year's program. Kieran Charnock, who was a former student of Rathkeil College, who's participated in the film festival for several years, is workshopping and rehearsing with actors up in Wellington right now, and we'll bring that film to premiere as part of the festival lineup next year. So there's really exciting things developing already. I've applied for funding today to this film, Masterton Event Fund, to help support the advertising and promotion of the film festival.
Thank you,
for
Jane.
this community.
So what we'll have now is we just have some questions. Has anyone got any questions to ask? No. Thanks for your presentation, Jane. And what will happen is over the next week or so, we'll just get back in touch with you regarding the application that you've made. So thanks for your time.
Thank you so much for having me come at this time to talk to you. I appreciate that.
Our pleasure.
Cheers.
Thanks, Jane.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye.
So everyone, we'll adjourn until 3:15 p.m.
I'm going to let Geraldine in now.
Right. Hi, Geraldine.
Hello.
So Geraldine from the Wairarapa Women's Centre. So you've got just a reminder, you're being live streamed as well. And you have 7 minutes to present, and then we'll have about 3 minutes of questions after that, okay? So the floor's all yours.
And just clarifying, I'm presenting twice.
Are you?
I'm presenting in 2 different goes.
Yep. The first one, they're both for the Wairarapa Women's Centre, and the first one's for the yoga movement classes.
That's right, the movement classes.
Thank you.
Kia ora everyone. So I'm Geraldine from the Wairarapa Women's Centre. I know you've all had a long day of listening to people, asking for grants. So I just thought I'd give you a little introduction, a little bit different, that kind of represents what we're trying to achieve as part of our programs generally here at the Women's Centre. So if you're happy, I would welcome you to join me in this little exercise. It only takes a few seconds, well, maybe a minute. So I'd like to invite you to close your eyes and just take a deep breath, breathing in and breathing out quite deeply. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And still with your eyes closed, I'd just like you to take your focus on your feet, on that part of the body, which is going to have a short body scan. And just feel what it feels like. If there's any tension, you might want to put some attention into relaxing this tension. And then you can move on into your legs. Again, if you're feeling any tension, just relax. You can tense and then just let go. That's another way to relax. And then you might just want to move up to your back and your belly, your chest, and just send that feeling of relaxation into that part of your body. Your arms and hands, and then your face. Put some attention into your jaws, as they're usually the part that we tend to contract, clench. When you're ready, you can roll your shoulders, do whatever feels right. And then just open your eyes again. Great. Well, now I feel more comfortable looking at myself on that big screen that is in front of you. So the Women's Centre has been existing since 1986, and what we aim is to really promote empowerment. One thing that we recognise is that for people to feel empowered, they need to feel good. We've experienced, all of us, a bit of a crisis in the last few years, which means that quite a few of us are not feeling so great. So one effective way of creating those happy hormones again back into our system is to exercise, which I'm sure many of you will agree that that's a great way to be out there exercising, whether it's in the nature or at the gym. But for some of our community, people in our community, it's a real challenge. Going to the gym can be a challenge, whether it's social anxiety or previous trauma means that they might not feel comfortable in a group or with a mixed gender. So what we did is last year you kindly supported our yoga class, and that's been a real success in terms of well received in the community. We still want to build up on our numbers on regular, but we're starting to see some regulars, which is a real positive move. And to exercise is great. To do it once a week is more than none at all. The beauty with yoga is that you do a bit of both, a bit of exercise of your body, but also exercise of your mental well-being, of your mental, what's happening in your thoughts, and you're bringing calm to that, which was the point of my introduction. It was very brief. Normally it would take a bit more time than that, but just to give you an example of the way we could start our programs here, just to put people in the right frame of mind. So once a week is great, it's better than none, but the doctor would probably prescribe three times a week, if not more, to create that habit-forming for the individual. So this is why we would like to continue the yoga or movement class of the like, whether it's Pilates or something similar. We've had Amy, Yoga with Amy, joining us this year to facilitate it, and we've also had Karina, who's Masterton based, who's also facilitated at times. So this year we are looking at trying to expand that and bringing it to 3 times a week across Masterton. We'd love to collaborate more with some other agencies that are looking at promoting well-being. And we're also looking at fundraising elsewhere, so that's why we've asked for 4,500 for this particular grant. So this is for the movement class grant request, and that was the Wairarapa Women's Centre. Thank you.
Thank you, Geraldine. Does anyone have any questions? Marama?
Thank you for your presentation. Where do you operate? Do you operate out of somewhere particular? Have you got a building?
Oh, sorry, is this Harriet Kennedy talking? No. Sorry, just I can't hear what you're saying.
It's Marama. Go Marama.
Do you have a building that you operate out of?
Oh yes, so we've been using we're based at the Wairarapa Community Centre, and we've been doing it in the conference room there at the centre.
And do you have to pay rent?
We pay a preferential rental per hour, and since we already are renting an office there, which is $10 an hour.
Okay, thank you.
Geraldine, is there a cost for the classes to go along to?
So we've made it, so that's the other thing I didn't mention in my speech, is that some people can't afford to go to the gym, and this is why we wanted to introduce this. So especially people who are maybe not working, then they're the ones we want them back maybe working, or we also want them to feel good in the first place to be able to even contemplate to go back in the workplace at times. So we don't charge. We do say that they can contribute to a koha, but that's at their own discretion.
Marama?
just another question. How many people do attend your classes?
So we've got 5 regulars at the moment, and what we'd like to, we think that we can go up to 7, 8. We also create a real secure, safe, environment for them, and there's no obligation to even take part in the class. We've got many clients that come in sometimes and they need 2 or 3 times to watch a class or to just watch what we're doing before they feel that they can join. So that's also our approach. With the yoga particularly, there's also different levels, so people can do chair yoga. So if if they have disability, they can still come along and they can do chair yoga, and the teacher, the facilitator will adapt to the situation.
Thank you.
Any more questions? No? Thank you, Geraldine. So you can go right along with your next presentation. So it's the same process. So 7 minutes to share, and then questions for 3 minutes after that. So when you're ready, go for it.
Okay, thank you. So this is still a request for one of the from the facilitator, Wendy Kensel, who's currently facilitating an art workshop. So for the last 12 months, the Wairarapa Women's Centre has been running an art workshop and facilitated by Wendy Kensel. And she's an expressive arts facilitator, counsellor, and she's also a sound tray and simple work practitioner. She's also a drawing therapist. So this art workshop that she had, although she's an art therapist, she didn't run it as a therapy as such. It was a workshop where people could come in and learn about art techniques and then express themselves either on a piece of paper. So they've done things like this. That would have been using oil pastels. They've done stone art. They've also done what they call altering books. This one is one in process. And basically what Wendy would say is that when you do art like that in a safe environment, you're able to kind of express yourself, what's happening inside in the subconscious, but you can express it. You might not be able to understand what it means in paper, but you're able to express it with art for those people who really don't always know what's going on in their head. So that's been so we've noted an improvement in our regular attendees, and they find it very therapeutic. So this program that now Wendy would like to offer is more around art therapy itself, and she will offer a safe and nurturing space for individuals to navigate life challenges, particularly after the COVID pandemic. She will look at exploring with them their emotion, rebuilding resilience, and finding healing through artist expression. The program structure includes art modality, and themes and activities will be tailored to address specific challenges that the participants will face, such as anxiety, grief, or social isolation. The program will incorporate guided discussion and reflection to help individuals and they will process maybe these feelings, this anxiety through their artwork. And she will go deeper in terms of getting insights from that experience of expressing it through art. Whereas at the moment, in our current art workshop, they do art, there isn't really therapy going through that process. So she wants to foster a supportive community through this program and provide a sense of connection, empathy, and shared healing, empowering individuals to rebuild their lives, regain a sense of purpose, and cultivate their mental well-being in the aftermath of the pandemic or other trauma that they might have experienced. So the project will consist of 10 weeks with one session a week lasting 2.5 hours. And depending on funding, she is able to reduce that to 8 weeks or to increase it to 12. No, I'm joking. Just to keep it to 10 weeks is what she'd like, or just to reduce it to less if depending on funding, she can probably do it in 8 weeks, she says. She'd like to start this program on the 1st of February 2024 and go for 10 weeks. She sees some needs in the community and has connections with the following agencies: Yellow Brick Road, Oranga Tamaraki, Te Aohora, Te Whaiora, Changeability, and individual counselors and psychologists that we have also, we connect with here at the Warrapa Women's Centre, and they refer our services to for extra support. So that was the art therapy sessions to be run in 1st of February 2024 for 10 weeks by Wendy Kemsall.
Thank you, Geraldine. Are there any questions from anyone? So Bex?
Yeah, hi Geraldine. You've been running some art courses already. What sort of participation have you had in those? What sort of numbers?
So this participation, we do want to keep it a small number due to the nature of what can come up and the people, and also we run it in this office here. And so we do have, we've had between 2 and 4 people attending. We now have a regular 4 attending the sessions.
Thank you.
The capacity is up to 6.
Any more questions? So does this cover materials as well, Geraldine, the grant?
Yes, yes.
Great. Geraldine, thank you for both of your applications. So we'll be in touch in the next week or so once we've been through all the deliberations. So thank you for your time and thank you for sharing.
Thank you for your time and hope you enjoy the little breathing exercise. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, they need to go now. Right, hi, Cherie and Curry. Presenting for the Wairarapa Sports Artificial Surface Trust. So, you guys, you have 7 minutes to present, and then there'll be 3 minutes. Curry's going to have trouble keeping the 7 minutes, isn't she? I've known you for too long, Curry. But 7 minutes to present, and then a bell will go, and then there'll be 3 minutes of questions after that. Was I supposed to say that?
It'd be pleased to know Cherie's talking.
Thanks, guys.
I don't know that I'm any better than you, Kerry. Thank you so much for taking the time to allow us to present to you today. So Kerry and I are both board members of Hoki Wairarapa and also trustees of the Turf Trust. We inherited the role on the trust middle of last year and have inherited facilities that are less than desirable, I guess is the politest way of putting it in this context. And we provide venue and activities for we gauge around 2,000 people week in, week out, particularly during the winter, which is when we need lights. So what we're asking for is a contribution to allow us to replace the lights on our southern turf. These are currently halogens that have been cobbled together by the wonderful support that we have from our community. They're actually hand-me-downs from Hockey Wellington. They are expensive to run for Hockey Wairarapa and the Turf Trust, and they don't actually make the bulbs anymore, the lamps. So at the moment we are doing sticking plaster after sticking plaster to get that sorted. Traditionally, Hockey Wairarapa have our players played well above their weight. Captain of the Black Six, Megan Hull, Black Six Women, Dane Lett are both major contributors to hockey on a national level, international level, and are very proud to name themselves as Wairarapa players. We are super excited that 2 of our current players have been named, selected to attend national camps for under 18 players. So we well and truly do go out there and play well above the standard for what would be expected of a region of our size. So we want to be able to continue to offer quality hockey opportunities for our community. And as I said, we're a winter sport, so we'd be cutting down our availability of turf time by we gauge it around 40%. It could be more because we get a grey day. I'm not sure what it's like up in Masterton, but in Carterton it's a grey day today, so we'd be looking at 5:30 at the latest to be finishing, whereas at the moment we have the turfs going right through till 9:30 every weeknight. We have approximately 700 young people, so find that taking that from the youth strategy, that 12 to 24-year-olds, that's a huge percentage of our rangatahi that we provide a venue for. The lights are not cheap, we realise that. If you drive down State Highway 2, particularly with how fast or not fast, you can drive down there at the moment, you will see the lights shining brightly there as you get to Clearville. So we know that they're not cheap, and we're fundraising like mad ourselves. And this is part of our long-term facility project. When I say long-term, it's actually short-term in terms of we need to replace our northern turf, and the southern turf itself will need to be replaced in the next 3 years. We obviously, as a private, for want of a better word, facility, we don't draw on support from council, none of the 3 councils, but we provide the facilities and service for, as I said, nearly 2,000 people every week. Very.
No, I guess the big thing is going to LED lights is environmentally free, which has been an aspect of the board in terms of everything from recycling. Our new turf will do that also with our water intake, so we won't be using as much water. I guess for us, I think the big thing that Cherie has said is we don't draw money off, council doesn't have to. I know Masterton District Council has been a great supporter of our turf when we replace it. We'll probably be coming back to you about that later on. But, all our maintenance is all done by us, the board. We budget for that yearly. We get player contribution from our, particularly from our senior players, because we try and keep our youth costs at a minimum, so that we can attract people to hockey. But we're in a situation where we have to replace them because we cannot get the parts anymore anywhere in the world, really. This would be of huge benefit to us in replacing them. We need to replace them by April next year.
Thanks. Any questions? So Bex?
Yeah, hi, it's Bex here. Hey, just a couple of questions. I see you have you had the same conversation with Carterton or South Wairarapa yet? Councils?
We have put an application into both those councils, so all three councils.
Yep, and my other question is, I don't see any other funding requests like the usuals, Eastern Central, Trust House, lotteries, etc. What's your thoughts on that?
Okay. We're having to replace our northern turf for health and safety reasons. As Cherie said, we've taken over this trust and been, as a matter of words, thrown a little bit under a bus. All of the trust have left as of last year, so at the moment Cherie and I are trying to get it back up and running. We're going to have to get probably between $500,000 and $600,000 to replace the north turf. So we will be applying to all of those places that we're in the process of doing that now. Just trying to be really careful about who we get funding from for what. Obviously we'd love to get some funding for the lights, but we also need to be getting some funding for that turf as well.
Thank you.
The trust will be contributing. We've got money set aside that we will put into the lights and put into the turf, and Hockey Wairarapa will put money into the turf. So yes, there will be funding applications, absolutely, but if we can get the lights with the councils and probably some of our own money, that would be great.
Thank you.
Without the new lights in the southern end, what sort of capacity will you be reduced for in regards to having night sessions? Like, is it half the facility or a third of the facility?
So we have the two turfs. So obviously the northern turf lights will mean we can play for college age 3 rounds. We would be able to play 1 round, maybe 2 if we're lucky.
I was going to say 40%, which
yeah.
So it would reduce.
Or we'd have to look to extending after 9:30. My husband played hockey in Wanganui, and that basically killed Wanganui hockey when they went to games at 9, 10 o'clock at night, and we really don't want to have that happen to hockey in the Wairarapa.
Any more questions, anyone? Gary?
Yeah, Gary here. Can you just tell us, where are you at with the lights now? Are they at a stage where you've just got to do it, or have you got another 12 months, or have you got whatever?
So Cody Linton is advising us. He works for the turf company. Literally, this sounds really bad, but he managed to get Wellington Council have replaced all of the lights at Wellington Hockey. They paid for the whole lot, and we have taken what we could out of their parts of their lights to keep ours running. But we've had our lights blow twice this year, and there's going to be, I'd say the next time they won't be refixable. Yeah. The other problem is we have to get a crane in there to do major work to replace those lights, and obviously because of the wetness of the ground we can't do that. So we have to use the pocket of the fine weather also to get in there to fix them.
Thank you.
Any more questions? No? So thank you both for presenting, and we'll be back to you by the end of next week, just after our deliberations. Thanks, guys.
That's great.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers, appreciate it. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
To go and see. Hi Tom.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. So we've got Tom Gibson from Shelter Masterton, and Tom, you have 7 minutes to present, and then there'll be 3 minutes for questions after that's passed, okay? So, and just a reminder that you're being live streamed as well.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the opportunity to meet again. I'll try and be as quick as possible because I realise you put a pretty long day of it. So Shelter Masterton will be well known, I think, to most, if not all of you. We've been very grateful in the past for support from the District Council that really got the project up and running. We have now had the transitional home for homeless people in Elizabeth Street open for well over a year, and we have 9 people at a time living in the home. We've had a number of successes with people transitioning through the home, and with the support we've been able to help them with, have moved into regular housing. Of course, we've had a number of failures as well, and that's the nature of the situation in which we're working. Last year, the District Council funded us with $5,000 for a resident support fund. And the idea behind that was that, having obtained a contract with the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development that has taken care of most of our wage problem, although not quite all of it, we were quite keen to have some money available and to establish a small fund for residents who had particular needs identified by the staff, and to help meet those needs as part of the rehabilitation of the resident. And that fund has worked extremely well. We've been able to buy socks and underwear for a few people who didn't have any. We've been able to buy a pair of boots for someone who was running short. We were able to buy an inexpensive guitar for someone for whom music had been a very important part of his life until things fell apart and he ended up in the street. So those are the sort of areas in which the money has been used, and it's been well used and long gone. One of our conditions that we developed over the year was that only residents who were undergoing support in a program with our social worker and who were taking positive steps in terms of rehabilitation and who had needs identified by the social worker or by the home staff would be supported from the fund. So it wasn't a lucky dip that anybody could put their bit into for something they felt they wanted. The fund has been used as part of a rehabilitation program. And so we've come back to you this year to request more help to keep this fund going. We've been able to chip into it with donations and other fundraising bits and pieces that we've done, although our main fundraising effort remains keeping the home open. So we do have a deficit in the annual wage run, which seems to be getting worse as inflation and pay rises and so on come along. And also the main running costs of keeping the home open and the various expenses that go with that. So that's the reason behind this year's application. We realise that money is short for the District Council as well, and we are very grateful for any help that you feel able to offer us.
Thank you, Tom. Now, has anyone got any questions? Manama?
Hello, Tom. Is it just transitional housing?
Yes, transitional housing is the program that has, I think, widest acceptance for helping homeless people to move off a life in the street and back into some form of regular housing. In times past, the old days of doss houses and boarding houses were the answer for homeless people. There's a considerable body of evidence showing that actually doss houses tend to encourage homelessness rather than try and help resolve homelessness. And the transitional home is a home where every resident is offered and helped to participate in a program of rehabilitation, whatever their situation is, whether it be learning to read and write, whether it be dealing with their addictions, whether it be help with employment, whatever it is, there is a planned program to try and help them in the transition from life on the street into life in regular housing.
And just
as part of the government's published, I think 4 years ago, a very good document on homelessness, and transitional housing features very largely in accepted planning for best practice.
And just a further question from that, how long do the residents stay in the transitional housing? About, from there for short
Right.
time?
That is a difficult one. Housing and Urban Development recognise that 12 weeks is a reasonable length of stay, and for normal transitional homes, somewhere between 3 and 6 months would be the norm. Because of Masterton's situation, where we are probably the only facility that is helping a number of these guys, we also have some very high needs clients who in the city would not fit into the transitional housing model. And Housing and Urban Development have recognised and accepted this, so some people will stay for several months. And the only condition from Housing and Urban Development is that we can show that we are making progress in some shape or form and helping them to re-establish their lives. And for some of our clients, that's quite a slow business. Others are in and out within 6 weeks. With one chap last week who was only there 4 weeks, and during that time we were able to help him re-establish contact with his family in the South Island, and they wanted him to go back and live there, and we supported him to get back down to be with his family.
Thank you.
Any more questions? No. Thank you, Tom. Thank you for sharing. So we'll be back to you next week just as after we've discussed each of the applications. So thank you.
Thank you. And again, we do appreciate this committee has given us over the years, so thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom.
suppose that you've already weeded out the what people have completed their accountability for.
Sorry, say that again?
You've already weeded out.
Yep. Yes.
Let's almost give us time up.
Deanna's not to run. Deanna's not to
Oh, yeah.
run.
He's on the phone to speak. Can you speak now? I'll just turn you up.
I can hear you fine.
Right. Hi, Andrew.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm terribly sorry to keep you hanging there. I was expecting a phone call. I actually, Mary was jogged from last year. I had the kids tearing around the place. I manage over 600 customers. I've got 4 staff, 2 kids, and I'm also an instructor and an aerobatic pilot, and I look after an aerobatic club. So there you go.
So you've got your hands full. So Andrew Love from the New Zealand Aerobatic Club Incorporated. You've got 7 minutes to share, to present, and then we'll have 3 minutes of questions at the end. So, and you're also being recorded on the live stream as well.
Yeah, sure thing. I'm sure some of you may recall my sort of presentation last year over Zoom. The Aerobatic Club has been around since the mid-80s. We originally competed at our nationals in the Central Hawke's Bay in Waipukurau. We attract anywhere, sort of, including our volunteers, 30 to 40 people every year to the event, to the nationals, which is now in Masterton, held by the hosted by the Wairarapa Aero Club. And we have normally around 20 competitors from around the country, also from overseas. Our president is an Emirates captain on the A380, so he comes out from Dubai, and we've had a number of South Africans and Australians as well come over the years and compete in the competition. So it's individually judged by a panel of judges, so it's not a race, it's all about scoring and difficulty factor in the form of aerobatics over the southern side of the airfield. So it's all judged a bit like gymnastics or figure skating, in that you have a panel of judges who are trained international standards, and the flights are judged by that panel of judges, and you get averages accordingly. So we, from a grassroots perspective, we're all Aero Club pilots. We all come from Aero Clubs all around the country. So the thing I always talk about and push is also here in the South Island at the Mid-Canterbury Aero Club event, which is hosted by the Mid-Canterbury Aero Club, is we're from Aero Clubs originally ourselves. So the way to attract more people into this sort of activity and into flying in general is through the Aero Club. So the Wairarapa Aero Club have been just awesome hosts out at Hot Aerodrome there. We pay them to have access to the facilities for the week. And it's the highlight of the calendar by far, including that amazing swimming pool they have, which is, I can tell you, the envy of many Aero Clubs around the country. So we connect with the local members at the Aero Club there at Wairarapa and showcase our event accordingly. We've got a couple of instructors in the organisation, including myself, so that we can in fact have pilots compete who don't have the correct qualifications, but they can fly on our licences, and that's how we sort of attract new members. So the emphasis from a public perspective is that connection with the local Aero Club who are our hosts. So we get on the Friday and Saturday a good number of people coming out to these events these days. I noticed at the Nationals in early March this year, and also at the South Island Champs last November, the increase in people coming out to look at what's going on, particularly on the Saturday, but also on the Fridays as well, the Friday afternoons. Sort of anywhere from 50, 60, 70 people sort of spectating in the car park Aero Club area. We do our best to engage with everyone along the way with what we're doing, because the way we all got to where we are is through the Aero Club. So we try and point people towards that flying organisation to get a trial flight, take a lesson or two, and go from there. So the event runs for a full week, from sort of Tuesday through to Sunday. and we have our prize giving and dinner and presentation at the Era Club on the Saturday night. We also run our AGM there, so we put a fair bit of extra money into the Era Club with dinners and catering and all that sort of stuff, as well as our attendance fee of hiring it for the week. How am I going for time, by the way?
Just bear with us. Three more minutes.
Oh, good as. So the contribution from the council was a huge help. Basically, what we do is try and sort of offset a few of our expenses for our members in terms of things like landing fees and hangarage expenses as well. We try and put the aeroplanes in hangars where we can, especially the more valuable ones, where we can sort of during the course of the week. We do have entry fees and subscriptions for the members too, which contribute towards the cost of running the event as well. But essentially that's the idea. We just try and generate the money that way so that we can try and provide the best possible sort of experience and product for all of our members as well, because we do have a number of members who don't actually compete. They just come and support it, which is fantastic. And I must say we've had a lot of extra volunteers in recent years who have gone down that road, who might even fly themselves to the airfield and not compete at all, but they just love the atmosphere and love being around like-minded pilots. So it's a really cool opportunity to have other Era clubs join us and bring aeroplane members in to, as I say, to spectate, to visit. Particularly Wellington Era Club, they always come and visit most years at the event, most years at the Nationals, and we just build the event up from there. So we had a couple of interrupted years, of course, which were frustrating for everyone, but we've come back very, very strong. So earlier this year was it's probably a cliche, but it was a huge success. I was wrapped. I was so happy how it went. As I say, we had an awesome contingent of volunteers, and the Era Club were particularly busy and keen to get involved this year as well. So that's our, or certainly my biggest passion is promoting the organisation that hosts us. So we have the Warrap Era Club and the Mid Canterbury Era Club are the two places that we're so grateful to have us. And the key is to just see if we can get members of the public involved in that capacity. Hey, have a trial flight, go with an instructor and have a go at flying, and see what you think of it, because this is where it starts, and this is how you get to what we're doing now. We've got a number of professional pilots who fly in the airlines. We've got aircraft engineers. We've got air traffic controllers and other people that own businesses outside of aviation, like myself. And it's all about promoting aviation from the grassroots level. So if there's any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Thanks, Andrew. Does anyone have any questions? No, Andrew, on this occasion, no questions at all. So thanks for your time and for your presentation. And we'll get back to you by the end of next week, once we've been through our deliberations.
No worries at all, and I'm so sorry to keep you guys hanging. But look, on another note, I'm also heavily involved with Wings Over Wairarapa. So I'm passionate about all the air shows around New Zealand, but I just really hope we get this one away, and it all has a nice positive effect on the local community there, because I can't wait to be there and be involved.
Thank you, Andrew. Thanks for the work you do. Cheers.
Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye.
So, we'll now adjourn the meeting and we'll reconvene tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. on Thursday, December to make our decisions around on the applications before us. So thanks everyone, and that's the end of the meeting for now.
Thanks, Tom.